Welcome to the tutorial on the crucial conversation map. Now, if you're kind of like, hey Jen, I got it, it's pretty self-explanatory, I'm going to just give you the short version. It's 4 steps. Know your purpose. Why are you going in? What's the point? Check your assumptions. Stand in your values. When you're grounded in your values, your point's always going to be stronger. Ask yourself a couple of things to commit. Now, let me just take you through these steps a little bit clearer. Know your purpose. When we, I think it was Stephen Covey that said, begin with the end in mind. Ask yourself, reflect for just a little bit. What is hard for you about this conversation? This also builds self-awareness. Self-awareness is a part of emotional intelligence. As you can build your emotional intelligence, your self-awareness, your leadership becomes more effective because there may be something that's brewing underneath that you haven't acknowledged. Asking yourself, what is my outcome? What is my desired outcome? What do I want? Because sometimes we hold that as an assumption. Now let's move to step 2. Check your assumptions. What am I assuming that the people I'm going to talk to know? Boy, this is a tricky one. And I mean, I've really abbreviated these questions, but we could reflect on these a little bit longer. What am I assuming they want? You also might ask yourself, what am I assuming I've already told them? Because sometimes communication, the second part of emotional intelligence, is social skills or communication skills. And all of us can work on improving our social skills, right? When we're not at our best, when we haven't gotten enough sleep or food, or our life is out of prioritization, like our priorities are out of whack, we're not going to be at our best, right? And so it's really good to check your assumptions before you go in. And what this is really going to help you do is slow down. Okay, so that's step 1, know your purpose. Step 2, check your assumptions. Let's go to step 3, stand in your values. Now, if you don't know your values, what I want to show you is we have some courses. Part of our curriculum in the LeadWell program has a course called Mastery of Personal Leadership. I recommend it highly. It's a self-study course as well. But the one part in it, there's a chapter in it that we actually have as a mini course, and you can get that for 50% off on our site, and it's only $129 to begin with. But there's a values exercise right in it. Now that's a whole nother topic, but what I just want to say is if you haven't done work to identify and name and describe your values, decision making and conversations will be much easier when you stand in your values. Knowing what your top values are, it's shifted a conversation for me today that I needed to have. I remember that generosity is one of my top conversations, and I think I could be a little more generous in a particular conversation I'm having. So you even ask yourself, what do my values say about this conversation? For me, it will help me, for all of us, right? It helps us walk with integrity. When we're more in line with our values, we feel more integrous. So step 3, stand in your values. Okay, let's bring it home. Ask yourself, what could I say? What will I say? This is meant to be, a lot of times when we're working on how somebody's going to approach a situation or a colleague, a lot of times the first thing out of their mind and out of their mouth is maybe a little abrasive, especially if we're upset. The second thing maybe gets a little better, but then as we really refine it and think, well, what could I say? And how does this sound landing on someone else's ears? You can test this out with a family member or a colleague. And then commitment. When will I have this conversation? So those are the 4 steps. Know your purpose, check your assumptions, stand in your values, and ask yourself, what will I say and when will I say it? I hope this is helpful. It's going to help you be prepared and confident for your next conversation. And if you're still struggling, book some time with me. We'll have a little exploration call, and we'll just I'll help you come up with a few different ways you can approach the conversation you need to have. People, I once have been told, a person's success is measured by the number of uncomfortable conversations they're willing to have. There's a lot of ways to measure success, but I know this makes me a lot more willing to have those conversations.